Whatever's in that great temple up there on the bluff, I bet it's worth a fortune.
You and money, dude. There's so much here that... whatever.
Hello there, friend. May I say, that is a glorious bow you're carrying. Do you mind if I ask where you acquired it?
Yeah, I got it from a rat. You'd never believe me if I told you.
Well, I'll take your word for it. But perhaps you'd be interested in selling it to me. I mean, it's not as if you have any use for it down here.
For the right price, I can tell you where you can get your own.
Now you're talking, I'm interested. How about 100 denarii?
1,000 denarii.
Oh, that's a little excessive, don't you think? It's not the bow of Ulysses we're talking about.
Think of it as an investment. A few little coins in exchange for riches beyond imagining.
All right. But I'm going to need you to tell me before I pay up.
In that case, deal's off.
Wait. Let's not be too hasty, friend. I just want a little assurance that I can trust you, that's all.
You're just gonna have to take your chances, I'm afraid. I managed to get this bow, didn't I? The golden rule won't allow me to not deliver on my promises.
I suppose you're right. All right, you drive a hard bargain, but here's your money. Now, the location of that bow.
It's in the Shrine of Diana.
What? But I already knew that, you imbecile. Everyone knows that. I can't take that golden bow because stealing from the goddess in her own shrine would break the golden rule. You promised to tell me where I could get one of my own.
You can take it, and you'll be able to keep it for the rest of your life.
What is this? Some kind of joke?
You gave me what I wanted, and I gave you what I promised.
I don't believe this is happening.
This is fun. We should do it again sometime.
Don't even talk to me. Don't even talk to me.
Oh no. I was supposed to get information from you. Oh well.
Oh, shiny.
Hi, Fabia.
Salve and welcome. Need something?
Any idea who's threatening Virgil?
Terrible shame, that is. Maybe this'll help. Late last night, I was cleaning my oven when I heard some noises outside. The forum's usually dead quiet at that hour, so I came out to see what was going on. To be honest, I thought maybe poor old Dooley had got out of his cell and was snooping around again. So I popped my head out and saw someone in front of Virgil's shop. I couldn't tell who, it was too dark. I called out to them, but they just turned and ran off without a word. All I remember is they ran past a lit torch, and the light glinted off something metallic. Armour, I think. So I suppose it could only be one of three people, Horatius, Domitius, or Rufius. I hope that helps.
Thanks, that does help. What's your story?
There's not much to tell. I mostly just bake bread and try to help out where I can.
How'd you end up here?
I suppose it all started about 8 months ago. I was living in Rome with my family when I got sick. Terrible timing. My pa had just arranged a husband for me, a fisherman's son. I was about to meet him for the first time when I came down with an awful fever. I spent the next week in bed. Pa paid priests to make offerings to Asclepius, a white rooster, then a goat. But nothing worked. In the end, they decided I'd do better outside the city. Clean air in the countryside would do me good, they said. But after about a day in a carriage on the Appian Way, I was getting worse, not better. I remember closing my eyes for a bit, and I guess I must have fell asleep, because when I opened them again, I was in a forest by a river. I suppose the driver took off with his fee and left me for dead. Can't say I blame him. I wouldn't have wanted to catch what I had either. Anyway, I went searching for help, stumbled across the trapdoor temple, and here I am.
That's odd. Most of the others were in Rome when they woke up in the forest, but you're saying you were a day's ride away?
Oh yeah, I suppose you're right. Hadn't really thought about it. But the gods are mysterious and powerful. Who knows what their plans are for us?
Death, apparently. What do you think about the golden rule?
Oh, I try not to worry about it. I mean, if people are nice to each other, we won't have anything to worry about, will we?
I like your optimism.
Thanks. And I like your teeth. They're so white.
Oh, thank you.
And your clothes. Oh, I bet my friend Georgius would like to get a look at you. And I'm sure he'd love to chatter about the golden rule with you too. He'll be just across the forum in his shop.
You know of a way out of here?
What? You've been here a few moments and you're desperate to get out already? Why not give the place a chance before you try to leave? Good people here. Galerius works hard on the farm so I can put food on our tables. And Lucretia tries to keep us healthy. My friend Georgius is always mending our clothes. And Virgil makes sure these old walls don't fall down around us. Well, he does his best. I'm just saying, there are worse places you could live out your days.
Fair enough. I'll be going now.
All right. Thanks again for taking care of our problem. I won't forget it.
I already talked to you. I already talked to her. Who have I not asked about how they got here?
I have nothing to say to you, kaput mada.
Oh yeah, you don't like me. I forgot. What about here? I've never... I have, but I haven't been down here, like, actually exploring. Don't steal anything. Don't hurt anyone. Don't... Whoever wrote this didn't get a chance to finish, evidently. Was there an old lady here at one point? What's up here? Oh, this is the... Wow, I ran all that way. I'm trying to help. I ran all that way the first time to get all the way back there, when I could have just run down this little tunnel here. Really should explore this place more. Interesting. I have a feeling you're one of the ones that comes to life, and that's the only way for me to get behind you. I'll bet. Galerius for Magistrate, countered by I would rather drink Aurelius Special Brew. Looks like someone has been hard at work on a prototype zipline. Oh, this must be Galerius' place. A love poem to an unspecified woman. My life has been torturous, as the 7 labors of Hercules. Orphaned, defeated, and enslaved, yet I would suffer it all again gladly, because each loss, wound, and tragedy brought me to you, radiant as Rome's sacred flame. Your bright warmth nourishes my soul. I know I can never touch you any more than hold Vesta's flame, but to watch and love you from afar, bathing in your glow, is enough. My goodness, that is... Wow. Well done, Galerius. That's a... I mean, no rhyming scheme, but then again, we are translating from Latin, so it probably does rhyme in the original tongue. However, wow, that is very heartfelt. Who can he not... hang on. I know I can never touch you. So she's either married or it's the priestess, and since he says Vesta's flame, I'm going to assume it's the priestess at this point.
Cerberus lifts his triple head and lets out his threefold braying.
Livia, would you stop muttering like Medea over a cauldron? You'll scare away my customers.
They follow their trades, imitating their previous lives, but they are ignorant.
This again. You're in a world of your own, aren't you?
Olivia knows what's up. The many shall suffer. Okay. Ah, yeah. More fish sauce. Plenty of fish ketchup in here. Ancient Roman cavalry helmet with an enclosed face mask and plume made of dyed horsehair. Man, Horatius. Jeez, dude.
Ixion turns.
I don't know Ixion off the top of my head. A wooden model of a Roman arena. It's lovingly crafted by someone who misses the outside world. Virgil. Oh, so these are their homes. It's not their shops aren't their homes.
49 melodies fetch again with incessant labor the water they have lost.
Let's talk.
Just as the ocean accepts the rivers of all the world, so this place accepts all the souls. But it does not notice the crowds that come.
Does not notice the crowds that come? What's your story?
The bloodless shadows wander without flesh or bone. Some crowd the forum, some the house of the ruler of the depths. Others follow their trades, imitating their previous lives.
I know what the last part meant, but I don't know the first two. I'm sorry, I have no idea what that means.
They never do.
Can you tell me about the pattern you saw?
You think you wish to know, but you do not. It is better for you if you remain ignorant. Pandora's box must stay closed. I'll say no more.
Do you know a way out of here?
There is only a downward path, gloomy with fatal yew trees. It leads through dumb silence to the infernal regions.
I see. What do you think of the Golden Rule?
The bloodless shadows. This is their punishment. The newly arrived are ignorant of the road before them.
Large wooden beer keg with built-in cup holders. Bouncy.
Ah, you're here. I'm so glad you decided to visit. I'm Aurelia, and I hope I'm not being too forward, but
No, you're backwards for
the moment I
selling
laid
foils into
eyes
people.
on you, I was intrigued. I can tell from the way you carry yourself. You're a warrior, like Aeneas on a journey far, far from home. Such bravery.
Oh, stop it. No,
What
please,
was
go
that?
on.
Some kind of joke? If it was, it wasn't funny. I take back what I said. Suddenly, I don't find you so intriguing anymore. Let's just forget that ever happened, so we can at least do business. So, what brings you to my tavern?
What's your story?
Let it go. Nothing's going to
Well-
happen between us.
You know a way out of here?
You know, normally, I'd expect you to buy me a drink before asking if I want to get out of here.
That's cute, but seriously, do you know a way out?
Straight to business, huh? I can work with that. As a matter of fact, I do know a way out. I'm happy to tell you all about it, but this is valuable information we're talking about, and I don't just give it away cheap. So, how badly do you want it? Is it worth, say, 1,000 denarii to you?
If you have a way out, why haven't you used it yourself?
Simple. It's a one-way trip, and I'm not ready to go just yet. I like my life here. One day, maybe, but not now.
Isn't it kind of unethical to keep all these people trapped in here knowing there's a way out?
I think of it this way. I have something of value, and I'm willing to share it for a price. That's not unethical. That's just good business. Now, do you want it or not?
Not interested. I know it's a scam.
Ha! It's hardly my fault if people misunderstand the terms of a deal. I mean, it does say, "Let the buyer beware," right outside my tavern.
What do you think of the golden rule?
I just try not to think about it. Drink helps with that. As the saying goes, to drink is human, so we drink.
That's not a healthy way to look at life. Do you have any wine?
I do, but I'm afraid it's not for sale. It's the last jug in the entire city, so I'm saving it for a romantic occasion.
I already messed up with her. This isn't gonna work. Everything's for sale. Name your price.
Everything except this. Sorry, sweetheart.
I actually thought that would work on her with how she is. Let's talk about
Good
something
idea.
else.
You had your one and only chance and you blew it. Time to
my
move
goodness. Heard any interesting gossip?
on. Certainly. For 10 denarii.
I'm not giving you anything.
Whatever you like.
I'll be going
All
now.
right. See ya.
And your gossip will be something stupid like Fabio likes Galerius or something. A large vat for brewing beer. There's a layer of small insects drowning on the surface. Help me! Help me! More beer vats. Oh man, I can smell this. I hate the smell of beer. It's just rotten bread, the smell. Leave that for now. That would count as stealing. Minerva, goddess of strategy. Well, you are crafty. Doesn't mean you're a good person, but I do have to give you that. You are crafty.
Vote for Malleolus for a free drink at my tavern.
Sisyphus, attack or pursue the stone that always returns.
Crude ceramic bowl full of urine. Perhaps they're saving it for something like bleaching clothes. Ugh. That sounds awful.
Wow. Isn't that a big long bow?
I thought you weren't interested. Let the buyer beware.
You, Tantalus, cannot catch the drops of water, and the tree you grasp at eludes you.
Key to the chest in the shrine of Apollo. Okay. Livia's chest. I said I could take it, so I took it without stealing. I don't know why I would know that. It's just holding the jug.
The 49 melodies fetch a game with incessant labor.
Alright. Let's go talk to Aquisha real quick. Really wish I could get in here. I want to see what's with the skeleton.
Isn't the great temple majestic? A new face. Ave, and may Vesta watch over you. I'm Equitia. To what do I owe the pleasure of this visit?
Death, that's what you owe it to. I've been asking people about how they wound up here, try to find a pattern.
Interesting. I'm not sure why you're telling me, but you've come to the right person. Did you find a pattern then? What have you noticed?
Some people mentioned a coin.
Yes, I suppose that could be something. But then most of us do tend to carry coins on our person, don't we? What else?
Some people mentioned memory lapses.
That's true. I know I wasn't entirely sure how I wound up here. What else?
And the river.
Yes. I understand many of our friends were carried here by a river current. It's as I feared. I think I understand what poor Livia has been going through. Let me ask you this. Did you happen to encounter a stranger in the forest before you arrived here?
I did, a young woman.
And did you happen to catch her name?
Karen.
I see. And was this Karen, by any chance, wearing a hood?
She was wearing a hoodie. How could you have known that?
Because I've seen her before. There's something I think you should see. I think you'd better follow me to the baths.
Alright, I'll meet you in the baths.
Don't follow too closely. We can't have people thinking we're bathing together.
I was just about to say.
Citizen.
Nice to meet you. I hope this doesn't count as following too close, because...
All right, you're here. You were asking how I knew the young woman you met by the river was wearing a hood. Here, look down at the bottom of the baths. It's a little hard to make out in this light. If only we could see. Oh, what a marvelous lamp. But do you see it? Somebody waking up by a river in a forest to find a hooded figure with a coin. It's just as you described it, only your pronunciation is a little off. The name you heard wasn't Karen. It was C-H-A-R-O-N.
Karen,
as
the
in
ferryman.
Charon, the ferryman of the dead. Charon, who, in exchange for the right coin, helps the souls of the newly deceased cross the Styx, the river that separates the land of the living from the land of the dead.
When I dragged you out of the river, I thought you were never gonna wake up. I checked your pockets for ID, but all I found was some loose change. Feels like I've spent my whole life in a dead-end job with an endless commute. Sorry if I sounded cagey, it's just that I don't always get the best reactions when I introduce myself. My name's Karen.
I'm so sorry, my friend. I'm so sorry. I take it you know what this means.
This place is the underworld.
I'm afraid so. It's all starting to make sense. All these people whose last memory was running from the fires toward the river. It seems none of them escaped with their lives after all. Perhaps we should be grateful they don't remember their final moments. It also tells us that the Golden Rule is the work of Pluto, the god of the underworld.
Yep.
And why his epithet
I
has
should have
always
said
been
something about that, but
Father
yeah.
of riches. I know it's a lot to take in, and you look as if you have questions, so I'll try to answer them if I can.
Because with the Greeks, Hades didn't have much to do with riches, but when it came over to Pluto with the Romans, since he was the god of the underworld, that also for things under the earth, which ended up being jewels and gold and silver and stuff like that. Why are there so few people in the underworld?
Good question. Let's see. In the stories, Charon would always require a coin as payment for passage across the river. But that never made any sense to me. What does an ancient immortal being need with coins? In our case, it seems Charon didn't take the coins we had. He or she merely checked we had one in our possession. So, maybe there's something special about the coins each of us had on us. That might explain why we wound up here, but so many others did not.
I would expect a lot more people to be here with coins. I expect a lot more people to die with coins in their pocket, if I'm honest. Even in my day and age, as compared to yours. In your day and age, definitely I expect everyone basically to die with coins in their pocket, if that's what it is. And also including your burial rites where you put the coins on them. If that actually carries over, I would expect a lot more people to be here. So I don't think that's it for why there's so few people here. What can you tell me about Charon?
Oh, I'm sorry. I keep forgetting you're not from here. If you were Roman, or even Greek, you would know these stories. Each of them is slightly different, whether the storyteller was Plato, Homer, Virgil, or Ovid. But they always involved the souls of the dead meeting a grim ferryman named Charon on the bank of a river. It was said that he'd help the new arrival cross, only if they could pay him with a coin, an obol. That's why it was once our custom to bury our loved ones with a coin in their mouths. Charon's obol, we called it. Of course, an obol was a kind of Greek coin, because we inherited this knowledge from the Greeks.
Why didn't you all recognize Charon immediately?
To be fair, the ferryman isn't exactly as the poets described, and he, she, they seem to appear to different people in different guises.
That's fair.
You say you saw a young woman named Karen with a hood, and I once heard Kabash mention a stranger in a ram headdress named Kerti, and Rufius described meeting a stranger named Kumut Tabal wearing an eagle headdress. But whatever form this stranger took, they were always wearing a hood of some sort, and their name always began with a K sound. I suspect the only way you'll solve this riddle is if your paths cross again.
So we're dead.
That was my first thought too. In the old stories, the underworld was where the souls of the deceased were taken. But it was also possible for the living to reach it without dying, if they were particularly fearless. So I'm afraid I don't know.
Well, given how the majority of the people here do not seem fearless, I would say that we're dead. But I'll keep an open mind. Were you trying to keep this from me?
No. I mean, I had my suspicions, especially after Livia's ramblings, but I would never have figured it out without your help. I promise you.
That's all the questions I had.
Now that we know where we are, we have to figure out what to do about it, if we don't want to be cast into gold for eternity. We don't have much to go on, except the old stories. I remember 4 in particular about heroes in the underworld. Hercules, the demigod and son of Jupiter. Orpheus, a Thracian poet. Sisyphus, a king of Ephyra. And Aeneas, a Trojan hero. Hercules was able to leave the underworld because he cowed its god with his strength. Sisyphus and Orpheus both relied on their wits instead. They persuaded the goddess of the underworld, Proserpina, to help them escape. And finally, Aeneas was able to escape with the help of a spirit guide, who led him through a secret gate. So it seems you have two options: to confront the god of the underworld head-on, or find a way to escape with the help of Proserpina or some other guide.
I've noticed you seem uncomfortable calling the god of the underworld by his name. Why is that?
All Romans try to avoid saying it, and the reason is quite simple. He might hear us. You may refer to him as Pluto, if you wish, but you'll only be calling attention to yourself. Do so at your own peril.
Can't we just escape the way we came in? No, but I'm gonna ask it anyway.
It's a reasonable question, but the problem is, this place is fairly well designed to keep us here. There's no way to climb up the shaft. And even if you could build a ladder big enough, just trying it would break the golden rule. We know that, thanks to the writings left behind by those who've tried.
Tell me more about confronting Pluto head-on.
Shh! Is everyone so blunt where you're from? Oh.
Not always.
That option would be the boldest, but also the only way to learn the truth about the Golden Rule, and maybe even put an end to it. As I said, Hercules managed to overpower the god of the underworld, but he was a demigod. Forgive my candor, but you are no Hercules.
That's fair enough. Hercules couldn't manipulate time or turn organic matter into gold.
Are you telling me that you can? I won't pretend to understand exactly what that means, but if that's true, then perhaps you stand a chance. So, if you want to confront him, I'll help you as much as I can. Who knows? Perhaps your name will be uttered in the same sentence as Hercules one day. But first, you'd need an audience with you-know-who, and for that, you'll need to enter the great temple overlooking the city. The problem is, the door has been sealed shut for as long as I've lived here, and there doesn't even seem to be a keyhole. I suspect the answer lies in the desecrated obelisk in front of it. I'm not sure if you noticed, but there are 4 plaques missing from its base.
I hadn't noticed.
It looks as though somebody, or a series of somebodies, forcibly removed them, and in doing so, dishonored and angered our divine keeper. If you could recover and replace all 4 of those missing plaques, I imagine he might be willing to receive an audience again.
What can you tell me about the obelisk?
It's the towering stone monument with 4 sides and a pyramid-shaped head that stands before the great temple, a dedication to the god of this place. You'll find them all over Rome, but of course they were looted from Egypt many years ago. It seems one of them made its way here too, although how is a mystery. However, this one is unusual in that each of the 4 sides is decorated in a different style: Roman, Greek, Egyptian, and another I don't recognize. That means you'll need to recover 4 different plaques: Roman, Greek, Egyptian, and a 4th, a mystery plaque.
Where would I find the Roman plaque?
Good question. To answer that, we first need to ask who would have defaced the obelisk in the first place. It would have had the god's name engraved into it, so it may be that whoever desecrated it wanted that name to be forgotten. And there's only one group of people I know of who might want to do that. There's a cult in Rome that often argued there is only one true god. Theirs, of course. They've been known to start fires, as well as deface religious monuments whose existence challenged their beliefs. If I were you, I'd go looking for them. Of course, they've all been in hiding since the fire last year, so finding them won't be easy. But I did hear a rumor they have a secret shrine somewhere in the city. Perhaps, if you could find that, you might be able to recover the Roman plaque.
Where do I find the Greek one?
I don't know. But perhaps you should begin your search with the local Greek fellow, Georgius. His store is in the Forum.
Where do I find the Egyptian one?
Perhaps Kabash, our Egyptian resident, would be able to tell us. Unfortunately, he disappeared weeks ago. But I did hear Aurelia is peddling rumors about him at the tavern, so perhaps you could talk to her, or just take a look in his room.
Where do I find the mystery plaque?
I'm afraid you're on your own with that one. But perhaps finding the other 3 will illuminate the way.
Let's talk about something else. Tell me more about escaping with the help of a guide.
As I mentioned, both Orpheus and Sisyphus were said to have persuaded Proserpina to help them escape, and Aeneas was guided to the exit. The problem is, those are the stories of a poet, a self-aggrandizing king, and a brawler about their own heroic deeds, so they should be taken with a grain of salt. First, Proserpina. What we do know about her is, well, it's a grim tale. It's said the god of the underworld abducted and dragged her here against her will, forcing her into marriage.
Well, that's horrible.
It is. The gods are a mirror image of mankind, as far as cruelty is concerned, I'm afraid. If the stories are true, I imagine she's as desperate to escape as we are. If she really did help Orpheus and Sisyphus, perhaps she'll help us too. The problem is, how do we communicate with her without being noticed by her captor? Leaving that aside for a moment, there is also the possibility of a spirit guide. I don't suppose you've come across one of those in your travels?
I hear the female statues whispering to me every now and then.
Truly? And you're only bringing this up now?
You never
then again,
asked.
I suppose you were worried I'd think you were as mad as Navia. Can you tell me more? Is it the same voice? What kinds of thing does it say?
Honestly, all the questions you ask me make me suspicious of you, that you might be working with Pluto, if I'm honest. But that's okay, because the game's only giving me one option, and that's to move forward. It's always the same voice, and she's helpful if a little bit cryptic.
Fascinating. Perhaps she's a benevolent spirit. Or perhaps... Perhaps you're hearing the voice of Proserpina herself. If she has indeed been abducted, it would make sense for her to speak in cryptic whispers to avoid detection. Tell me, has she told you anything that might lead you to the way out?
Perhaps. She said wade against the current, and her tears run through the city, and she weeps where the water flows.
That is strange. There are no rivers here. Let me think on that.
Oh, yeah. Perhaps I need to get into the upper cistern.
Right, because the current flows into the city through the aqueduct and into the upper cistern. I vaguely recall wondering what was in there, but the door at the back of the great temple is locked up tight. You might be able to get a key from the magistrate, but if that doesn't work, perhaps you can find another way in. Let me know if you find anything in there.
Alright, I'm ready to get started.
All right. I would suggest not discussing this with anyone. The best we can do for them is to let them remain oblivious for as long as possible. As for Livia, it seems she's been shouldering the weight of this terrible secret all this time. Perhaps it would comfort her to know she's not alone.
I'll talk to her.
In any case, time is of the essence, so you'd best begin. May Fortuna guide you. Although you may not need her with Proserpina on your side.
We'll see how it goes. I'm gonna leave out first so that no one thinks we were bathing together.
Just as the ocean accepts the rivers of all the world, so this place accepts all the souls. But it does not notice the crowds that come.
I figured it out. I know where we are.
Say it. Speak its name.
The underworld.
Then it is true. I was right.
You were.
I thought I saw it, but when the rest of them could not, I kept thinking I must have gone insane. I had to tell myself it was true over and over again, until I wasn't sure if I was deceiving myself. I must apologize if my words seemed cryptic. I'd found comfort in reciting the Metamorphoses by our great poet Ovid. He gives such an uncanny description of this place. I cannot help but wonder if he himself came here. Would you like to hear it?
Sure.
I will do my best to remember the relevant verse. There is a downward path, gloomy with fatal yew trees. It leads through dumb silence to the infernal regions. The sluggish Styx exhales vapor, and by that way, the shadows of the newly dead descend, entombed with full rites, and the ghosts of those, at last, given proper burial. The wide, thorny waste is cold and pallid, and the newly arrived shades are ignorant of the road that leads to the Stygian city, where Black Dis has his cruel palace. As the ocean accepts the rivers of all the world, so this place accepts all the souls, and is never too small for any populace, nor notices the crowds that come. There the bloodless shadows wander without flesh or bone. Some crowd the Forum, some the house of the ruler of the depths. Others follow their trades, imitating their previous lives, and still others incur punishment. I hope I have done it justice, and now we share a secret. It's as if you've lifted a great burden from my shoulders. Thank you, friend. I think I should rest. Friend, you have given me hope. May you follow in the footsteps of Hercules and return to the light of day.
Same to you, hopefully, if I can get this figured out. I'll talk to Galerius real quick. My friend, where'd you go? Oh. Stop it. Don't move. Yeah.
Salve again, friend. I went and did as you asked, and it worked. How is it possible that you've just arrived here and you already know everyone and exactly what's about to happen to them?
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm reliving the same day over and over again.
You're toying with me, right? Wait, you're not kidding, are you? That's the only way you could have known. You're a bit like... Oh, what was his name? Sisyphus. Yeah, that's the one. Old King Sisyphus.
That or the guy from Groundhog Day. Like Sisyphus. How so?
Sisyphus was a Greek king a long time ago. For daring to think he could outsmart the gods, he was given a terrible punishment. He was forced to push a great boulder up to the top of a hill. Only, just as it reached the top, it would roll all the way back down to the bottom, forcing him to start over and over and over again, for all eternity. Just like you. Actually, now that I think about it, there are a bunch of old stories about the gods punishing people by making them do the same futile task over and over. Tantalus was made to grasp at fruit on a tree he could never quite reach. The Pleiades had to keep fetching water in a sieve. Oh, and Ixion was strapped to a wheel going round and round forever. But, on the bright side, at least you're not stuck in the underworld like they all were.
Yeah, at least there's that.
Anyway, I don't know which god you managed to upset to get yourself into this position, friend, but you seem all right to me. So, I'll tell you what. I'll keep doing whatever I can to help you. And you just focus on finding a way to break the cycle you're in.
You're a good guy. You're a good man, Galerius.
Oh, that's kind of you to say. Now, I'm going to keep your secret. Although, it's not as if I'll remember this next time we talk anyway, right? Oh, and if our conversations ever start to annoy you, just tell me you're busy. I know when I'm not wanted. May fortune smile on you, friend.
That sounds so mean. I'm not busy now. I want to talk to you real quick.
I saw you slide down that rope before. Very impressive. And strange, too, since that device you used is exactly the same as one I've been working on for weeks. Oh, of course. It's because I already gave it to you in a previous time loop, isn't it? Anyway, I'm sorry to ask, but is there any chance you'd be willing to do me a favor?
Of course.
Well, I've been trying to get this rare flower from the rock spire in the middle of the lake. It's too steep to climb, so I hung a rope over the lake and made this pulley device, only I couldn't quite summon the nerve to use it. Do you think you could use the device again and try to get that flower for me?
Dude, anything you ask.
Oh, thank you. It would help me a lot. There's no rush, just whenever you get a chance.
I'll get to it.
All right. See you around.
But before that...
Salve again, my Sisyphean friend. Now, what's on your mind?
What's your story?
Well, it's a long one and kind of sad, but I don't mind telling it.
I have time.
I'm a farmer. Always have been. I grew up in a small village in Britannia, Camulodunum, with my parents and 2 little sisters. Lovely part of the world. One day, when I was about 20, my father and I were in the top paddock, loading our cart, when some Roman legionaries came along, demanding produce for their men. My father told me to run into the house for his axe, and so I did. I sprinted so fast I almost threw up, but by the time I got back, he was bleeding out on the ground, and our cart was empty. That was my first encounter with the legions. My mother died of a broken heart soon after, and things went downhill from there. I took over the farmstead, but I was young. It was a struggle. More raiding started before too long. We'd come outside in the morning to find animals missing, our stores pillaged. These legion thugs just took whatever they wanted. One night, when my sisters and I had nothing left to steal, there was a knock at the door. I knew who they were, and what they wanted. I got my father's old axe, pulled the door open real quick, and before that soldier knew it, split his face right down the middle. But there were more of them. I never saw how many, because the next thing I knew, I was waking up with a mouth full of dirt and lungs full of smoke. My home was reduced to ash. My sisters, dead. And they left me alive to see what they'd done. Still burns whenever I think about it.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, well, I wasn't the only one this happened to. It wasn't long before Boudica led thousands of Britons in a rebellion against the Romans. Unfortunately, there were just too many of them. And those of us who survived, they enslaved. So, then I found myself being transported all the way to Rome to be sold to the highest bidder. I spent a few years working for my new master, learning the Romans' ways, Romanized my name and everything. Tried to escape a couple of times, but they always found me, and I'd just end up right back where I was. I'd probably still be there too, if it wasn't for the stampedes breaking out. You see, about 7 months ago, an enormous fire broke out in Rome. Everybody was running down toward the river, screaming and shouting. I'd never seen anything like it. Human beings acting like cattle. I got swept up with them somehow, and the rest is a blur. The next thing I knew, some stranger was dragging me out of a river. Stumbled across this place and started my life over again.
I'm glad things worked out in the end.
That's what I thought too, for a while. But it seems the gods aren't done tormenting me yet. See, I finally had my own farm again, safe from the grasping hands of the Romans. Or so I thought. Until Sentius the Decurion demanded I hand over all my produce. It's for the good of us all, he says. Only he takes the best bits for himself, of course. He even told me if I refuse his demands, I'll break the golden rule. I'm not sure I believe him, but then, what if he's right? So, it turns out our dear old magistrate is no better than the Legion thugs who took everything from me. I'm right back where I began.
I'm liking
Don't you
Cynthia's
worry.
less and less.
Nemesis is waiting, and he'll get his. One day. He'll get his. Forget I said that last part, will you? I get carried away sometimes.
Sure.
Thanks, friend. I knew I liked you. Anyway, that's enough of me rambling. Was there something else you wanted to talk about?
Do you know a way out of here?
Well, as much as I'd love to get out of here, the harvest's always more fruitful in another man's field, isn't it? But Scintilla, Sentius's daughter, went missing a few weeks back. Could be she found a way out. If anyone knows for sure, it'll be her sister, Sentia. But she'd never tell the likes of me.
What do you, ever thought about running for magistrate yourself?
I've bounced the idea around once or twice, mainly as a way of getting Dooley set free. God knows Sentius is never gonna do it. But from what I hear, Malleolus has the election stitched up. Nobody's gonna take him on and win. And maybe that's not such a bad thing. I mean, he talks a lot about freedom, so I'm hoping if he's elected, he'll release Dooley from his cell. And that's good enough for me.
If Malleolus runs, he's gonna break the golden rule and kill us all.
And how could you... Oh, wait. You've seen it in another time loop, haven't you? Well, in that case, we need to find a way to make sure Malleolus loses. Better yet, get him to withdraw altogether. If you can do that, and Sentius is the only candidate left, I'll run against him.
Yes.
Deal?
Yes, indeed. What do you think about the golden rule?
Oh, I don't give it much thought these days. I mean, everybody here's got their own view about what we need to do to survive. But I say, let's spend less time arguing about what it means to be good and just get on with it, you know?
What do you think about the election?
I can't see how I could vote for either candidate. I don't like Sentius much, but Malleolus is almost as bad. Even I could do a better job. Me, a farmer. And I've never given a speech or put on a toga in my life.
How are we going?
All right, friend. Hope you find a way to break that cycle you're in.
Let me go get your flower real quick. This looks like it's gonna hurt. Oh shoot. Close. I need to just jump a little sooner.
Salve.
Gosh dang it. Oh, there's a chest down here. Oh, good. That's literally Tantalus. How did I never saw this. Oh, I don't even have to go to what's-her-face. There we go. Are you serious? I wonder. Apparently not. There we go.